Folks, we are live. We are live. The branding and the color scheme is on point. We got the red shirt on, touch of red here. Got the branding, new branding for the show up and running. The show is now called, instead of the Remodelers Show, that is no longer. It is now known as Remodelers on the Rise Live. Remodelers on the Rise Live. There's just too many names that we had out there. We had a name for this, we had a name for that. So now kind of combines what my podcast has been called for a number of years, Remodelers on the Rise, and this is now part of that. So you are all caught up with the news of the day. That is the most important news of the day right there. Okay, good. Wait, Kyle, with the rebranding, you didn't come up with any new sound effects? It's still the same old sound effects? You betcha. If they work, why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like the rest, says Heather. Thank you. Thank you. We got a happy new year. We got a long time no see. If you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, you can approve it so that I can see who y'all are who's saying that. And I'm trying to find it here so I can see who you guys are. But it looks like we got a Rhonda, we got a Nancy. We're going to be doing the show 2 times a week most of the time. I think there's one week in January that we're just doing it once, but that's kind of what we're going for. I like that you decided to match the new branding today. Yes, indeed. And sometimes that happens like on accident, but this one was actually sitting, this little Under Armour shirt, Christmas present, was sitting not in my closet, and was sitting out, and I thought to myself, you know what? We got the red going with the new logo. Let's do this. Michael's saying Oi StreamYard, which is making me think, are we a little choppy today? It might be my connection, which would be a bummer, unless you're talking about, okay, no, that's good. All right. Okay, good. We got some participation going. If you want to toss me a like, I appreciate it, and I can see you. And what do I want to talk about today? Moving on. There's a few, actually, I just saw Michael Anchel's comment pop up. So for some reason, I don't know when this originally came up, but we'll start the new year after that introduction with a good old childish dad joke. I don't know when Michael shared this with me, but I was talking to one of my clients this morning. He shared some dad joke, and this idea came to my mind that Michael taught me. I've used it multiple times and have gotten a chuckle out of the kids each time. It is as simple as taking a sheet of paper and writing the letter P on it. And then you take the little letter P, little sheet, and you can put it on your child's shoulder and say, you have P on your shoulder. You can plop it down on the old dining room table, and you can say, there's P on the table. It gets a chuckle. Even the 14-year-old thought it was funny. Okay, rock and roll. There's some value for y'all. What I want to talk about first is this word progress. I enjoy having time off. I had a good amount of time off Christmas week and New Year's week. The only problem with Kyle having extended time off is that it gets my creative juices flowing. Ideas start sparking. Maybe I should do this. What about that? It's good stuff, but it can almost be a little overwhelming too. Like simmer down with the idea generation. Part of that whole process that I've gone through the last couple of weeks as I've been thinking about 2020, thinking about the upcoming year, this word keeps popping itself up, progress. It really came up as I was thinking about what do I do? What do I as a business coach do? Do I teach mastery of something? Perhaps a little bit. But more times than not, what I'm really about, even the show's about, what my coaching's about, content is about, is helping somebody make progress on something. You're currently here. This is kind of what you're thinking and feeling and doing. You kind of see that there's another place that you want to go, you want to travel to, where you're going to have this a lot more understood and implemented and done. And it's about making progress to go from here to there. So I've been thinking a lot about that lately. And my question for you is, what does that look like for you this year? What do you want to make progress on? What do you want to make progress on? And I think thinking about it in that phrase and that wording makes it a little less intimidating. I think it can, maybe by asking it a different way, might sharpen what you want to make progress on. So I'd love in the comments, whether you're listening to this live or the recording, what do you want to make progress on this year? Be thinking about that. All right, cool. We're off to a rousing start. And Michael says, still cracks me up. The old P joke. Okay. Another thing that I had written, there's a couple posts that I've made over the last number of days that I just wanted to expand on a little bit more. And one of the things that I posted said this: less debt plus more savings equals stronger remodeling business. Less debt plus more savings equals stronger remodeling business. Why do I say that? I say that because if you have a bunch of debt and you don't have a lot of savings, you're walking much more of a tightrope. You don't have nearly as much runway when things don't go exactly as you have planned. When that job gets delayed because of COVID, when, who knows, a global pandemic could strike. When you're carrying around a lot of debt and little savings, that weakens your remodeling business. We saw it very, very clearly back in 2008. I started my business in 2008, 2009. You know who my first clients were? Not the ones that were heavily in debt and then the bottom dropped out of business. My first clients were the ones that had saved, that had low to no debt, and that were financially strong and realized, okay, we've got to do more related to our marketing, related to our sales process to dig out of this. What's interesting, what was interesting about this particular post on the old Remodelers community, it got a good number of likes, but it also got a few people that kind of shared a little bit of a different angle on it. And I'll read what one person said, which was Paul J. McManus. Hi, Paul, with McManus down in Florida. He said, blanket statements are tough, which is interesting, right? This is kind of a little bit of a blanket statement. I would say spend debt carefully and wisely. No one builds a $15 million facility without debt, even if they have $15 million in the bank. It's about risk management. It's about cash management and growth strategy. Sure, you don't run up your credit card with 22% interest just so you can buy tools and don't really need to be borrowing at 3% to grow your business. But borrowing at 3% to grow your business can be a smart move. Michael shared a few thoughts, and Michael, unfortunately, your comment didn't print out like I wanted it to. But there's just some feedback on that of going, you know, sometimes it's smart to leverage your money. Sometimes credit and debt can be used to improve your business. And I think what's, from my seat as a business coach, what I need to, I guess, make very clear is it's so easy to have debt just kind of sit and co-pilot with you. That's normal. That's normal in our culture, in our country. It's what we're getting sold. Finance this at this, finance this at that. It's constant. And it's very easy for somebody to take an idea of, well, that's not necessarily bad. Sometimes it can be leverage. Sometimes it can be this. So I think it's very important to say carrying credit card debt is dumb. It's expensive. It's an example of you not taking care of charging what you need to charge or being disciplined with your spending. You know, there's parts of this blanket statement that hopefully we all can agree with. If you're carrying around credit card debt, you need to get out of that. It's not wise. It's expensive, right? And I would argue that being debt-free as a business it strengthens things. You know, working on building up 3 to 6 months of solid reserves is smart. Perhaps saving up month in, month out with a goal in mind that says, I'm going to replace that piece of equipment in 2022 because I think that's going to be kind of end of life. And I'm going to put away $700 a month towards that from here till there so I can pay cash. It's hard to argue that that's a dumb move. Right? Now, there are times where maybe you do finance, you know, a piece of property. Maybe you do finance some long-term, you know, future type stuff. But I think the heart of what I'm saying here is that whether on the business side or the personal side, we've got to squash debt. We've got to get a good reserve built up on savings. And then let's talk from there. So just wanted to expand on that and unpack it a little bit more. Some thoughts on the word progress. Progress, update and refine our design/sales SOP. Better integration of our field and office staff. Okay, I like that. Progress, forward or onward movement toward a destination. Yes, indeed. Okay, cool. Let's see what else is next on the show. If this is the first time you're viewing or watching Remodelers on the Rise live, which actually it is because this is the first time we've called it that, what we like to do on the show is bounce around to a variety of topics, because there's going to be one thing that we talk about that's going to kind of grab your attention that you might do something with. You might say, that's something I want to make progress on. So let's move on to the next one and see what else we got going. This was a question that I asked the other day as well. So the theme of today is kind of taking some of the content I've written here recently and just unpacking it. And I wrote, how much did you spend on marketing/advertising in 2020? I was thinking about it. I was thinking about just how much remodelers are spending on average. And I think we had about 70 people fill that out. The majority, I think about 40, were in that realm of 0 to 10,000. Had a good number at that 10 to 24,000. Had a smaller number, but still people in that 24 to 50, and had some people in 50 to 99. I think there was 1 or 2 that were 100K or over. And the reason I asked that question was, one, I just wanted to get some data, and so I was asking a little bit selfishly, but also in order to answer that question, you actually have to go into your QuickBooks and your P&L statement and look it up. And that makes me happy to force you to do that, to have you do that, to want you to do that. You should know how much you spent in 2020 on your marketing and advertising / I would like you to kind of look at that after you see the total and kind of consider what's working, what's not working. In 2021, should I shift some of these precious hard-earned dollars that I'm investing in my marketing and advertising to something else that might be producing more for me? You know, we need to hold these dollars accountable. Yes, there's certain things we do that's just straight up branding. It's hard to track if it's getting a positive ROI. There's other parts of our marketing that can be tracked, that can be viewed. Am I seeing a positive ROI from this? So that's just a little reminder. It is a good time to review your overall marketing, what you're spending, and also consider thinking about and think about what you want to do in 2021. And if I can just expand that out a little bit further, if you haven't done it already, on January 5th, 2021, if you haven't done a nice dive into your 2020 profit and loss statement, and just reminded yourself, refreshed yourself on where the money went this year, especially starting down there in the expenses section. Your phone, software, accounting, professional development, insurances, marketing, all of those different things. We're moving so fast oftentimes that we don't take the time to review that. If you haven't done that for 2020, make that a point to do today. Log off this meeting right now and go do that. That's what I'd love for you to do. When you do that, it's going to make you a better business owner. What gets measured gets improved. What gets reviewed gets improved. However you want to say it, is facts. There's people right outside my office. It's like they're having a party. I don't know if you can hear it, but they're moving out. It's distracting me. I hope it's not distracting you. Huge distinction between credit card debt as mismanaged finances and the use of loans and leveraging assets to gain capital. I'm a pretty big fan of using other people's money to manage risk. Yeah, and I'm always kind of debating whether to put like a little bit of a blanket statement, something that kind of sparks people to say, well, I don't agree with that. I do agree with that. I find it actually quite obnoxious, and I like to, when I create content, really share my whole thought on it. But boy, sometimes, especially if you want to keep it in that nice colored background, which you guys see more of and you engage more of on Facebook, you got to make it sharp and to the point. But maybe I should put that. 0 credit card debt, less debt, plus savings equals stronger business budget. But I'm glad we have this forum to expand on that a little bit more. Nancy says, I spent $6,600 on marketing this past year, more than probably ever in the past. Good. That means you're looking at that number. You're paying attention to how much you spent. All right, excellent. We're going to hit the chime. And we're going to move on to the next topic. This is the same crap I was talking about last year. Well, guess what? When you're watching Remodelers on the Rise in circa 2023, The bad news is I'm going to be talking about the same stuff. The good news is I'm going to be talking about the same stuff. There are principles in your remodeling business that are timeless. There are topics when it comes to improving and making progress on our remodeling business that will always be there. And one of the things that I have on the screen right now is about job costing. If you aren't doing consistent job costing, please make sure 2021 is the year you get it dialed in. It's important, and you got this. I don't know how each of you are doing in this topic, but I will just expand on this a little bit more, and maybe you'll hear it in a different way. If I want to be a good estimator, I must have clear job costing. Why? Because I'm plugging numbers into an estimate based on my experience, based on looking at the project, based on a variety of factors. But if I don't know what the actual result, the actual was, then I'm still sitting in that estimating section of things versus, I estimated this and here's what the actual was. When you compare those two, it makes you a better estimator. You learn things. You make adjustments for the next time. If I want to be a better estimator, I need consistent job costing. If I want to be a better project manager, I need good job costing. If I'm managing a project, I need to know what my expected was on materials, on trade partners, on in-house labor versus my actual. And doing ongoing job costing lets me know if we're slipping or if we're gripping, if things are bad, if things are good, and I can make adjustments on that. If I want to be a good business owner of a remodeling business, I must be looking at job costing. There's just so many areas of the business that this helps you. It can be tricky. How do I make sure that I have this system talk with that system? How do I make sure this happens and that happens? Try to keep it really simple to get started. Don't try to integrate QuickBooks and Buildertrend and make it all, perfect. Sometimes that you can get there. You can make progress on that. But start with just getting real clear what your expected gross profit is, and then making sure you are tracking things close enough where you can see what your actual gross profit is. Okay, we'll be talking about that throughout the year. I think I've got a course kind of brewing on this topic that I think we'll be offering here in the coming months as well. Somebody said, "Good day, Kyle." Well, good day to you, my fine friends. Let's see who that is. If I can find that person who said, "Good day, Kyle." Daniel Folks, good day to you as well, sir. All right, excellent. What are you guys looking to make progress on this year? I'd be curious to know. Any questions that you have? I've shared a variety of topics so far on the Remodelers on the Rise live show. I've got more topics, but any questions or any topics that you guys have? Or is there any kind of anything you kind of like about the show? You like it when I have guests? You like it when I bring on a remodeler and do kind of a coaching call? I'm going to bring some of my colleagues on to speak specifically about certain topics. I'd love some feedback about that as well. I am here to serve you. All right. Next one I had here. Let me hit the chime. And here's a little analogy. It's another piece of content I made the other night. And it says, I like to make this comparison between levels of physical fitness and levels of business fitness. And where this has come to me is, one, it's the time of the year, but you ever surf through Facebook and see just beautiful, beautiful people? Man, that dude's ripped. He's fit. She's fit. Like, look at these people. They must work out all the time. And it's easy to sometimes scroll past that, because you'll see that on Facebook. They're selling their products, and scroll past it and be like, man, why can't I look like that? Am I the only one that does that? But when you get past that and you actually think about it, in order to be a fairly elite shape, like, you actually have like 6 abs that show through your stomach, and like you got biceps, and like you're fit and you're healthy. It requires a tremendous amount of work and dedication and consistency. One thing that's interesting is that you and I both know what needs to happen in order for us to look like that. Okay, there's some genetics. Maybe we all can't look, but to look fit, to look our best, whatever that looks like. We know what we need to do. The question is, are we willing to put in the effort? Are we interested in putting in the effort required to do that? And the analogy I have is it's the same stinking thing with your business fitness, right? You can be quote unquote overweight, sloppy, out of shape, hardly can catch your breath in your business, meaning you don't know your numbers. It's always flying by the seat of your pants. You're not organized. You're not returning calls. You're not keeping up on things. Follow the analogy here? But you already know what you need to do in order to be fit when it comes to your business. I just shared one of them. You need to not lock in your job costing, right? You need to return phone calls in a timely manner. You need to have really strong pre-construction meetings so that handoff between sales and production is rock solid. You need to look at your sales process and figure out, how do I start to qualify more leads, perhaps even figure out how to charge for design and development so that I can protect my time. How do I make sure I make the time for some one-on-one conversations with my valued team and trade partners so that I can continue to encourage and train and improve them? We know what we need to do. The question is, are you willing to put in the work and dedication and drive you need to be an elite business owner? Life's about choices. You know, what do you want to be? What do you want to make progress on? And it takes time to do this. But that analogy between next time you see a super fit person, instead of immediately going like, why can't that be me? Immediately go to, wow, they've put in the work. There ain't no way around looking like that. They've put in the work. They've lifted the weight. They've ate healthy. They've done what they need to do that. And that same thought of, wow, look at that business owner. That business owner has put in the work. It's work. They didn't just magically fall down from the sky, this perfectly designed, beautiful, profitable business. They put in the work. So I think that's a good thing for us to kind of consider and think about. Needing to get my crews moving faster without sacrificing quality or customer service. I don't know let me see who that is. That is Ian. Yeah, Ian. And yes, Alan Archuleta is getting some free promotion because he sent me this beautiful hat in the mail. I love getting swag in the mail. So Ian's saying, needing to get my crews moving faster without sacrificing quality or customer service. Ian's kind of talking about, how do we move quickly but don't rush? How do we balance this? Let's get after it, yet let's keep our quality strong. So Ian, that's a great goal. And just the immediate thing that comes to my mind related to that is setting clear expectations, and the phrase kind of micro goals comes to mind. If you have your crew out on a job and maybe you're there in the morning and you're kind of setting them up for the day or giving them direction for the day, to ask them, how far along do you think you're going to be able to make it by the end of today? Or you're setting them up for the week. By the end of Friday, what are you going to commit to? Where do you think you guys can get? Obviously, we don't want to rush, but where do you guys think we can get? Motivating them, encouraging them, giving them goals to shoot for. That's the immediate thing that comes to mind when we're trying to balance this quality and customer service. And certainly the back pocket speaks to this as well. Hey, if we can get to this point by the end of the day on Friday, there may be a few Benjamins in my back pocket when I roll around here on Friday afternoon. Sometimes that might motivate them. Michael says, Mark Richardson's 30-day remodeling fitness is another good one. Excellent. Getting books done. So this is a little bit of what do you want to make progress on? Getting books done faster. And what I anticipate you mean by that is I want to keep my books up to date. It is not helpful for me to review something that is months in the rearview mirror. Okay. So whether that is having somebody and hiring somebody to help you with that, or whether it's buckling down and making that a priority, that's a good goal to make progress on. This is Michael sharing related to what do you want to see more of on the Remodelers on the Rise show. He said guests are good, guest hosts are awesome. Michael and David did a guest host. It was actually the least viewed show of 2020 because I wasn't a part of it. I'm joking. It was great. And they guest hosted what was formerly known as the Remodelers Show. SOPs, more delegation. So when I see standing operating procedures, when I see the more delegation part in particular, start small. Let's take that big goal of more delegation and break it down into a bite-sized chunk. What's the next thing that you can delegate? And then let's set a clear SMART goal related to it: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. What's the next step in order for you to move towards more delegation? Get really micro with it. Get really specific with it, and you'll make progress. And once you knock that one out, what's the next one? Good. Job costing are equal to burpees. Got to do them regardless of the discomfort. Jim got my analogy. Then we've got how fit your business prescription. Cool. So it must be a book recommendation. Excellent, my friends. What else do I have? I had something else over here. I might hit on those on Thursday. Cool. Let's review what we covered today, and I have a few closing thoughts as well. This word progress, what does that look like for you this year? Think about where you are now, where you're wanting to go, and get specific with that. We expanded on this thought of less debt plus more savings equals stronger remodeling business. If you have debt in your business and you haven't set a goal for paying that off or paying a percentage of that off or how much you want to pay off this year, that's silly. We've got to set some goals for it. Just try to squash debt. If it's anything like credit card debt, you need to go after it with intensity unknown to mankind. Okay. Talked about marketing, making sure we're aware of how much we've invested in marketing, reviewing what's working, what's not, holding those dollars, those precious and valuable dollars accountable, and also expanded that out to say it's a great time of the year. It's past time of the year, but it's good time of the year to review 2020. Go back in there and review your expenses. I had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, and she was going through these little piddly subscriptions that she has, $10 here, $15 here, $25 there. And she's like, I'm not using this. Squash, delete, canceling this. Because guess what? A $20 a month charge, while it doesn't feel like a lot, you don't sense it, you don't notice it. If I were to take $240 cash and put that in front of you and say, you're about to spend $240 cash this year on that subscription, you sure you want that? When you translate it to actual annualized cash, you realize, well, that's stupid. I'm not even using that software. Go through your expenses and kill things that aren't producing. That's $240 more that you can draw out of the business, that can help squash debt, that can help build your savings up, that you can use to add another employee benefit. Right? Okay, good. We talked about job costing. We talked about this analogy between physical fitness and business fitness. We covered just a nice variety of topics. I had fun. I think you had fun. And the show was very red today, which is also fun. What was the takeaway that you had from today's show? If you could do that, put that in the old, this is a new mug I got too. Thank you, Nancy Benson. It says, ooh, this calls for a spreadsheet. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but one, I'm not 6 foot tall, but I'm also not 6'1". I'm strikingly handsome. You guys already know that from looking at me. But also, I love spreadsheets. Nancy knows that I love spreadsheets, so she mailed this to me. Okay. What's the takeaway? Give me a couple takeaways from today's show. I'll be back on Thursday with another group of topics and ideas. The phrase "what gets measured gets improved" has been coming out of my mouth a lot lately. That reminder of, if you're paying attention to your job costing, if you're paying attention to the number of in-house labor hours that you quoted versus the actual, if you have a bit of a business budget set up and you're measuring that, if you're tracking where your leads are coming from, if you're looking at your closing percentage, pick whatever thing you want to measure. What gets measured gets improved. So keep that in mind. Tate says 2021 is going to be great. Sometimes having a positive attitude can be an incredible advantage in business and life. It's a good positive attitude, my friend. Nancy says smiley because she got this mug for me. Nancy said track progress. Good. Cool, my friends. It's been a pleasure. I will see you next time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Do comment on a takeaway that you had from today. Reach out anytime if I can help. Catch you later.